What is going on, YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today let's talk about Iron Moth, Volcarona's futuristic paradox form. Iron Moth is a fire poison type, and also, just like its appearance, it's got very similar stats to the original Volcarona. So, with fire poison as its typing, we have three different 4 times resistances to bug, fairy, and grass. We have 5 resistances to fighting, steel, fire, ice, and poison. And then we have 3 weaknesses to psychic, rock, and water, and 1 4 times weakness to ground. Now, in terms of stats, we have base 80 HP, 70 attack, 60 defense, 140 special attack, 110 special defense, and 110 speed. So what makes us a little bit different here from the original Volcarona as far as stats go, we technically have a little bit more physical attack with 70 as opposed to Volcarona's 60, but we don't care about physical attack on either one of these two Pokemon. So in exchange for a little bit of HP and defense, we do gain more points into special attack, special defense, and speed. So basically, Volcarona has 85 HP and 65 defense, but it's got 135 special attack versus the 140 special attack, 105 special defense, and 100 speed compared to Iron Moth's 110 in those stats. So, what's the difference between Iron Moth and Volcarona? Well, Volcarona has a few moves that Iron Moth doesn't have, which would probably benefit the most from, specifically Quiver Dance. Volcarona gets Quiver Dance. Iron Moth unfortunately does not get Quiver Dance. Basically, you can raise your speed, special attack, and special defense each by 1 stage. Unfortunately, Iron Moth doesn't get this. We have Giga Drain here, which provides some recovery, and it would also synergize nicely with Quiver Dance because you're gaining a special attack boost, so you're doing more damage. You're getting a special defense boost. You're taking less special damage, and you have a speed boost, so you're gaining the advantage over some faster potential threats. Unfortunately, too, Iron Moth doesn't get Will-O-Wisp, which is able to burn the target, and this is how Volcarona can kind of patch up its physical defense a little bit by burning physical attackers. Iron Moth would benefit from this, but unfortunately, we don't get it. And finally, too, Volcarona has Rage Powder. Bulky Volcaronas do exist where you can pull away moves, go for the Quiver Dance, get Giga Drain to recover, and go from there. Now, what does Iron Moth have that Volcarona doesn't? Coverage. Iron Moth has a plethora of coverage moves. It gets access to Sludge Wave, it gets access to Acid Spray, which is a pretty good support move as well. We get Dazzling Gleam, we get Discharge, we get Flash Cannon. So basically, Iron Moth does have a more offensive move pool than Volcarona does. They both overlap with Hurricane, but I think Hurricane might actually be a little bit more fun to run on Iron Moth, but we'll get on that later. So the first set that I have here for this Iron Moth is a bit of a support set. I was watching some videos covering tournament breakdowns, and I remember Moxie Boosted covering this one tournament where one player basically experimented with the IVs and EVs on their Iron Moth so that they would get a speed boost instead of a special attack boost on it. And this was to get around some Pokemon that had like the Unaware ability, because what they did was they played this Iron Moth with Flutter Mane, and they went Acid Spray to get the -2 special defense on the target, and then Flutter Mane just immediately went after it and hit it with Moonblast, which would have been effectively at +2, but what it was doing was Unaware only ignores the opponent's stat boosts, it doesn't ignore the user's stat boosts. So by lowering the special defense 2 stages, Fluttermane was able then to get around the Unaware, protecting it from potentially getting a stat boost, so it was able to hit even harder with its Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam. So what I was thinking here was we could play around with our EVs and IVs. So we have 132 EVs into special attack to hit 177, and then we have maximum speed investment to make sure that we hit that 178 so that we're 1 point higher. We'll get our booster energy with a speed boost, and from there we have the remaining points into our bulk. What I was thinking here was we could go like maybe, say, 108 HP, 12 points into defense to get an extra 2 points, so we have a total of 82, and then the remaining 4 into special defense to get 131, try to max things out. We have Acid Spray to lower the special defense of the target. We have Heat Wave to just do some generic damage that's going to have a 10% chance to burn either of the 2 targets in doubles. And then we also have Struggle Bug, which is basically Bug-type Snarl, which is a guaranteed means of dropping the opponent's special attack. Now, with this particular Iron Moth, I'm not exactly saying you should probably terrestrialize it, but going Terra Fire might be for the best on this one. So we have some other options that we can do with Iron Moth as well. I was thinking maybe a Choice Scarf set could be fun. We have access to Volcarona's Fiery Dance, which gives us a 50% chance to raise our special attack 1 stage. It's base 80 power, which is pretty nice. We could go Terra Fire and do a lot more damage with that. We can also go Terra Electric with Discharge. It's base 80 power. We have the means of potentially paralyzing both opponents at the same time because Discharge hits everything on the field. You'd probably want to run either a ground type or a Pokemon with telepathy next to Iron Moth just to make sure that you don't get hit with that and potentially paralyzed that way. Similarly enough, we can go Terra Poison and go Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave is a really hard-hitting poison type move, and getting to double your stab with Terra Poison would be nice because that would basically put it up to a 190 move. It hits both things on the opponent's side of the field. You'd probably want to run a Steel type or a Telepathy Mon next to it, though, just in case. And then finally, for the last option, I have Dazzling Gleam. You could run this. You could run Flash Cannon or Hurricane as well. And then you could maybe even potentially go Terra Fairy, Terra Steel, or Terra Flying. If you go Terra Flying, you do get around that 4 times ground weakness as well, which would be nice. If you run Terra Steel, Steel is a nice defensive type as well. You would be able to take advantage of that 110 special defense stat, but at the cost of being frail on the physical side and being weak to fighting type and ground type moves, both of which tend to be physical oriented. So you would have to be careful that way. A third thing I was thinking too that you could do with Iron Moth is you could run it on a rain team, maybe go Terra Flying instead of Terra Fire or Terra Poison on this one. Because what I was thinking here was we can go Terra Flying, if I can find it, literally right under fire. We can go Terra Flying, become immune to ground type attacks, and now we gain stab on Hurricane. If we have Pelipper, we can get a guaranteed rain active with Drizzle. We could also use a Rain Dance Mon too, especially Prankster Rain Dance, because Grimmsnarl and Sableye both get that. I'm pretty sure Klefki does. You could go Terra Flying with Hurricane. When the rain is on the field, Hurricane bypasses accuracy. So now you would get Stab on top of Hurricane, and you have a 30% chance to confuse the target, which could be nice. You could also go potentially Terra Steel on a rain team with Iron Moth, and then that way you're also benefiting from the fact that fire-type moves are having their power reduced in the rain. So I thought that would be kind of cool to try doing that too. As far as some other moves go too, you do get Morning Sun, which can get you back some HP. You can run Light Screen to provide a little bit of more support. Maybe instead of running Struggle Bug, you run Light Screen instead on the first set that I mentioned. You could go maybe Substitute and have Fiery Dance as well. And yeah, another interesting thing too is it does get access to Charge Beam, which it gives you a 70% chance to raise your special attack by 1 stage, but I feel like Fiery Dance would probably be a little bit better because at least you have Stab. And Fiery Dance does have more power, but you could also argue that Quark Drive does activate on electric terrain, so you're naturally getting a boost when the electric terrain is active so long as you're just not terastallized into a flying type. So that is something to keep in mind too. You do get Helping Hand, which can be nice. Screech can be nice too, because you can lower the opponent's defense stat by 2. You get Metal Sound. You could lower the target's special defense by 2 as well. So you do have some nice support options as well as a lot of damaging options as well to go with Iron Moth. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to this. If you've used Iron Moth, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you've used both Iron Moth and Volcarona, let me know which you like better, and also why you like them better in the comments below. Anyways, I will see you next time.